Hello, everyone. This is my fifth attempt at recording this. So let's see if the fifth time is lucky. Anyways, this is Dr. Sri Maleth. This is the next edition of the Peace, Power, and Presence newsletter that looks at neurophysiology, neurobiology, manifestation, and business strategy all together with some of my own kind of philosophy mixed in there. So last time in the last newsletter, if you remember, we talked a lot about the brain and how the brain is. I was hoping this iPad is on, but apparently it's not. How we talked about the brain, the fact that all the different parts of the brain, the amygdala, the hippocampus, and how stress affects it, and how we talked. What for me was one of the most fascinating things was about the cortex and how it has 6 layers, and that the first layer 5 and 6 is where we store all of our past experiences and memories, and the somatic experiences come up from the body, and the past tends to suffocate the present, and how it's really important to learn to be and to experience everything as a new current experience by learning to be fully present using breath, meditation, EFT, etc., to be in our bodies, right? So we talked about that. I have to make sure that both my iPad and my computer remain open. So I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit more today about the 10x is easier than 2x, and about Dr. Dispenza's work. But I thought I would start off a little bit by talking about what I do. How does all of this tie into the work that I do? So what I do is I'm both a mindset and a business coach, right? And I am helping women of color, BIPOC women, entrepreneurs who are looking to scale, who feel stuck at a particular level in their business and who are looking to scale. I work with them to figure out what their mindset blocks are, and then I also help them with business strategy to build a multiple six-figure business in 2 years or less. And this is a reverse guaranteed program so that clients pay as they hit different milestones. One of the things that I do as I work with people in that space is that I figure out what their blocks are to success. There is a comfort level that we have, and I might, in fact, this might just be all me, and not we may not go anywhere else today into any of the books, but there is a comfort level that we have in staying in the same place, and part of this is explained by the fact by how our brain works, because if we are constantly being reminded as to how certain events or certain experiences will turn out by the fact that the top 2 layers of our cortex are suffocating any other new ideas or expectations. There is that creates a comfort level, physiological comfort level in our body, and if our physiology is not ready to bring in the abundance or bring in the success that we want to bring in, we won't, because survival is the most important thing, right? So to feel safe in our body, to know that we can survive is the primary focus of the human animal. And so, unless we are able to overcome that fear of success, or the fear of breaking norms, the fear of breaking our limiting, what we feel comfortable with, then we are not able to move forward. We will find ways. We might get sick. We might have, floods. We might come into situations where we just not, we may lose a job. We may lose a love. There will be circumstances which prevent us or give us a reason not to do what we know we have to do in order to achieve the success that we say we want to achieve. So, one of my offerings to the world is a free 2-hour masterclass. I do it every second Saturday of the month. I'm about to travel to India, so I will not be doing it till October next. But what we focus on there is what gets triggered in you when you think of success. So I'm going to give you a few examples of what I have helped my clients work through, or I'm helping my clients work through. One of the most poignant experiences I've had with EFT is that of a music producer who came to me and said that he has produced music for everyone else. He knows he has music inside him, but he just can't get it out. And so, the typical thing you do is think about putting your music out and what comes up. And he knew exactly what it was. It was that he had been, he had gotten a solo when he was 9 years old. He had gotten a solo. He was performing the solo in a choir competition for the church that he was a part of, but he was at an age where his voice was breaking. So during the competition, his voice cracked, and they lost the competition. And they came back to the church, and this old lady stood up and pointed at him and said, "He is the reason we lost the competition." And what was poignant was he said that neither my mom nor my father stood up for me. The entire congregation was against this little 9-year-old boy who had just, because of where he was in his life, his voice had broken. So every time he thought of putting his music out, all of those, remember we said that implicit memory that he had not yet created into a narrative, that this happened to me at this time and this is how I can make sense of it. That had not yet happened. What did happen was every time he thought of putting his music out, all of the physiological fight and flight responses that he had experienced that day when he had lost the competition, or when the choir had lost the competition and he was blamed for it, that is what got activated in him. And so why would he, that is telling him it's not safe to do it. You can't survive this. If you put this out, you cannot survive this. So why would he do it? So he didn't. So what did we do? We went through the whole thing. We visualized him doing it. We tapped it out. We removed the power, the physiological power that memory had within him. And I think it was about a month after we did this work that he sent me a YouTube video with the words, "It is out. Thank you for the work that you did with me." That's the power of this work. Let me give you another example. This was a young woman uh, who had a business, who has been running this business for some time, and was running it at a loss because she didn't dare ask for the actual cost. She wasn't even retrieving the cost of her services. So we did the same thing again. Cite, imagine yourself in front of a client, tell them what you're doing, and then where are you feeling it? Where are you feeling the stress? Where is the body reacting to this thought that you're going to ask? And her chest felt tight, her throat was restricted. When did she first feel it? When she went straight back to when she was in her crib. She remembered that it was not safe for her to cry when she was in her crib because she might get hurt. What is the message there? How does that tie in to her asking for the right price for her services? What she learned when she was that little was that if I ask for what I need, I am not safe. This is pre-verbal, probably, right? But that's the message that she got. It is not safe to ask for what you need. Why would she be comfortable asking for what she wants? That client went and told another of her coaches that something that I have been struggling with all my life. One session with Shri did it. I want to say, as I say that this is not Shri. I absolutely believe that I am guided, and whoever is speaking and understanding what my client needs is somebody far above this physical presence. I'm going to give you 3 more examples, and I'm going to end this newsletter with this because I think this is a great way, actually, to synthesize what we've been doing in these newsletters. Another of my clients who's in this high ticket program where we're helping her build her speaking coach business. We went through this. We said, you're going to make $250,000. Where does that hit you physically? And there was a fear. There was fear. There was, oh my God, I don't think that's going to happen. And all of those, like, there were all kinds of physical reactions to that. All 3 of these clients in this program, all of these clients felt this, had that sense of, I'm afraid of that sense. And when she went back, when we do a meditation, and then we say, okay, when do you remember first feeling this in your body? She went back to a time when she was a teenager. This is a person who is over 60 now. She went back to when she was 14 or 15 years old and remembered helping her mom clean homes. And she remembered that rich people are nasty, untrustworthy, mean. And why would she want to be rich? Her experience with successful people was that they were terrible, that they didn't care. So she made up her mind that she's not going to be them. So now then we created tapping and meditation to help her overcome that. And I will report back and let you know how that goes. But that is what is holding her back, right? That physiological sense that has not been integrated. So she just suppressed that because they had to do the work they had to do. This just became a belief because she experienced it again and again, and a decision to not become rich, to not become successful, to not become the kind of person who would have people coming to their homes to clean. Another client had the experience of chaos in her life. She went back to the time when we looked at what does she feel when we think about success. We recognize that all she had known when she was growing up was chaos. The home was chaotic. So what does success and financial stability mean? It means the complete opposite of chaos. If your body is physically only comfortable, has only learned survival skills of being in a chaotic atmosphere, the thought of stability and peace and calm all the time is so alien to the body that it'll do anything. What does Dr. Dispenza say? He says the body becomes the mind. And so this person then will do anything possible to ensure that the body is continually in a state of fight or flight because that's all it is used to. This is why it's so important to recognize that, to do this work, to recognize that, so that we can hold that person, that part of you, that part of me, that part of this client who is so used to chaos, and teach him, her, them that it is okay to step away from that there is another way to live life, right? So, and then there's another client who was just bullied and teased, and the only thing she had going for her was her intellect, and she was not cool, she was not part of the cool crowd, and it didn't feel safe to be there, right? So these are all the ways in which we allow the body to become the mind. And what we want to do is we want to be able to remove that physiological stamp that we have of what is safe, and get out of survival mode and step into thrive mode. That is the whole purpose of what I do in coaching, what I'm trying to do with this newsletter, to let you know. And the reason to bring in the science is, and we will go back to the science because there is much more to talk about in terms of what Dr. Dispenza does and what the Dr. Hardy and Dan Sullivan say about 10x is easier than 2x. A couple of things that I think might be useful for me to read, a couple of quotes from the 10x is greater than 2x book, is just opening my computer again, is one a common thing that happens when you're trying to change, this happens, for example, I'm on a journey of sobriety. I'm just going to say this out. I'm determined to stop drinking alcohol. And a common thing that you hear when you are in groups that are choosing sobriety is that a lot of the friends that you used to have fun in quotes, begin to look at you in askance, right? Like, you used to be a fun party person. Why are you not anymore? So this is, I thought, relevant to that. It says, anytime someone wants you to remain as you are, they do so for their own self-preservation. Your evolution threatens their current security, and they want that security more than the freedom that you seek. So it's uncomfortable at first to step away. And in order to work through that discomfort, is why we use tools like meditation, like EFT. And what I'm going to do here right now is I am going to show you a technique that is very quick. I just got finished a course in heart math, uh, in learning how to deal with trauma using heart math techniques. If you don't know, I'll be talking more about heart math in the next newsletter, along with what Dr. Dispenza does, and 10x is greater than 2x. But there's a lot of science behind it. There's a lot of research, a lot of publications behind it. And just, I want to end this newsletter by showing you um, a breathing technique that is easy to do, that is quick to do, and that helps bring you into the body, that takes you away from the survival mode and brings you into your body. It's similar to the meditation that I do, but it's quicker. Okay. So what you do is you take a few deep breaths. So let's just begin to focus on your breathing. And then I want you to become aware of where your heart is. Your heart is right in between, right where your sternum is. Just focus in there and imagine that you're breathing in and out through your heart. Okay. And try and do it with a count of 5. So breathing in and out. And let's just do that 10 times. Keeping your focus on your heart. Breathing as if air is coming in and out of your heart, just slowly, as slowly as possible. Hopefully, that gets you to a place of calm. It's something that you can practice anywhere. Just slow down your breathing a little bit, focus in on your heart, and breathe in at your own rhythm. Ideally, a rhythm of 5 and 5 is supposed to be the resonant frequency for human beings. And I'll talk to you more about the science behind heart math next time. This time has been focused on the work that I do and why it is so powerful. How we can work and understand ourselves and what our triggers are, why we stop ourselves from changing. Just to learn that and to be able to turn that around is our purpose in life, because that is how we recognize the divinity. Not recognize, we actually expose the divinity within us, because we are all divine. We are all reflections of God. But we just allow all of this stuff to come in front of us, all of these beliefs and experiences that we've had that are, you know, previous generations have had, that all come into our DNA, and how the body and brain interact, and we just cover this shiny mirror that we are with a bunch of gunk. And what these techniques help us to do is to remove that gunk. So hopefully that is helpful. I will see you. The intention is next week. But if not, um, when I see you. God bless. Respond to me. Tell me what you think about this. Love to hear from you. Take care.